Hey, welcome back, my amazing student. This is the Python mentor here, and I'm going to show you how to master everything in Python, starting with Lambdas, functions. Now, Lambda functions are an anonymous function in Python that return its value automatically. I'm going to show you how they are created, but before we do that, let's first define a normal function here. So I'm going to define a function that is going to add two values here. So we're going to pass the x, or let's just pass the a and b parameters here. Right? And we know that let's say we just add it just like that, right? And when we call this function, we just call it normally like this. And let's say 5 and 10, that would give us a total of 15, right? So if I run this file, that's what we're going to see here, 15. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Let me just clear all this mess that I got there that I was interrupted by my dog. Anyway, so if I run this, you can see that I get 15. That's awesome. Now, let's create this using the Lambda functionality. So I'm going to comment that out. And to do this in Lambda, all we have to do is create a variable to hold its result or to hold the way that we can call the function. And we can say Lambda here, and we have a parameter just like we do in the normal function. And we separate it by a comma. And right there, and then we close it with a colon, just like we do in a normal function. Now, here's where it differs. Besides that, we don't have a name for it, right? We're not using a name. We're using the variable as a handle for this. But right now, let's say if we wanted to add something to this, right? We'll just do it right here, a plus b, and that's it. This would be the return value, and it will automatically return this value to us. Now, I could use that in a print statement just like I did with this guy right here. I can just go ahead and do that. Let's just uncomment that, and we can just use that. And that would do the same thing we did here, right here. But you see the difference? We don't have a normal name for it. We don't have a name for the function. That's why we have to assign some type of variable in this case, so if we wanted to use it. Now, we can use Lambda functions without names inside other features in Python. You're going to see that more as you see my tutorials, all right? One of the reasons I'm actually showing you this, guys, right now is because we're going to be using Lambda functions in the following lectures. But anyway, so this is one way of doing it. Let me show you a more difficult situation here. Let's see. Let's get the first letter out of something. You know that letters in Python are a list of characters, right? So if I say, let's just say wonderful here, right? If I print this, I can get the first letter out of this by putting square brackets, just like that. All right? This in Python is like a list of characters, okay? So in the first index, it will have the W. In the second, in the zero index, we'll have the W. In the first, we'll have the zero, or the O in this case, and so on. So now that you know that, for those of you that did not know, we can use the next thing here with a Lambda function. Let's get the first letter, right? So this will have the first letter. Let's do it with Lambda here. So with Lambda, all we have to do is we're going to pass a parameter that's going to be called word in this case. And all we have to do is return the zero index, just like that. In this case, we could have just done this like that. Okay? And now, all we have to do is print the first letter. Print. All right? First letter. And what is the first letter of what? Let's see. Let's use the first letter of wonderful. Wonderful. Or let's say fun, which would be F, right? So let's comment that off. And let's run this. And you can see now that it says F, capital F there. Okay? Really, really cool. You see it right there. All right? So that's how you can use that. Let's do something a little bit more fun, right? Let's get the last letter out of something. All right, so I'm going to copy all this stuff here and put it right there. I'm going to comment that off there. As a matter of fact, let's get this out of there and put it right here. Let's get the last letter out of that. So how can we do that? Well, very simple. We'll just put a negative here, 1. All right? And it's going to go all the way down here, and it's going to go back 1. And it's going to give me the last one, which would be L. All right? Now I got to pass in a parameter here. And don't worry about what I'm passing in here. I'm just using a variable name, but you can use the whole thing here just so it doesn't confuse you. Let's do it like that so it doesn't confuse you right there. I'm going to pass that. And now this would be the last letter, actually. Last letter. Okay? So now let's go and save this. Run the file, and you can see the last letter is L. All right? Very simple. Let's go ahead and make something. Let's do one more example, 2 more, so that way you can see the difference here. I'm going to comment that off, and you're going to see here. So this one here would be, let's call this to upper. There are a lot of functions in other languages here, and that is our name to upper. All right? So we'll grab some type of text here, just like that. And instead of having the square brackets, we'll have a method name. And this method name would be upper, just like this. Okay? And now we'll just print this out. So what is this going to give me? It's going to uppercase what? Right? It's going to give me this whole letter, or should I say a word in uppercase. So let's go ahead and run this again now, and you can see that it says wonderful in all uppercase. Isn't this awesome? All right, let's do one more here. I think you should be fine with Lambda functions, right? All right, let's go ahead and do one more. I'm gonna comment this out, and I might give you this as an exercise in this video here. So always check the description of my video. I'm gonna write this from scratch. All right, so make sure that you are actually practicing. All right, so let's go ahead and check an even number. Let's make this a little bit more difficult here. So let's create a Lambda function here, and we're gonna pass some type of number. And if the number is even, we're gonna put a even string in that print statement, right? And if not, we're gonna put odd, right? So let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller so that way you guys can see that. So I'm gonna say if the n, right, the parameter that we're passing in, the number, and we're gonna put modulus here 2. We're gonna divide it by 2, right? If it's equal to 0, remember modulus operator here is gonna divide something, it's gonna give you that remainder, and with that remainder, it should give us the opportunity to find out if something's odd or even, all right? So we can say odd, right? So if it's not divided if the remainder is not equal to 0 at the end, then that should mean that it's odd, okay? That's what basically we're doing, odd, just like that. And now all I gotta do is just use that function to check. So we also check here, check even. Let's see if the number 13 is even. I don't think that should be even, right? Because it's 13. Once we divide it, we're gonna have a remainder. So it says odd. You can see it there. Let's make this a little bit clear. Boom, odd. Let's check a number like 100. Let's see if this number is divisible, and the remainder should be 0, right? All right. 50 plus 50 is 100. So yeah, let's run this and, oops, hold on. I put the clear value in here, so you can say that it says even. You can see that it says even. All right. So very, very simple. Lambda function just makes it easy for us to put something in one line here when we don't need to do very complicated things. So we can include it in our code to do very simple things, and also powerful things in one line. All righty. So hopefully this is very clear for you. In the next lectures, we're going to continue with our videos, and hopefully you'll get to use this in the future. I'll see you guys in the next video.